Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. If you think of this life as a journey, or you take the example of a journey itself, you put the petrol in the car, you make sure that there's enough water, you make sure that you have a snack with you if you're not planning to stop off somewhere, you make sure that your children have everything they need, you make sure that you are driving safely, you make sure that you've had enough sleep, you make sure that you have eaten enough for what suits your body so that you don't have to stop. Like this, insha'Allah, the journey goes smoothly. Imagine if you were on this journey and you hadn't prepared. So halfway into the journey, you ran out of petrol. The car spluttered out of petrol and stopped on the side of the road. Imagine that there was no way now to redeem oneself, to ameliorate the situation. Imagine a person didn't take their phone with them. So let's say there was no way for them now to be saved, as it were. They cannot expect for a family member, realistically, to drive by them and notice them. Likewise, regularly people don't stop, usually. Like this is the matter of this world. We plant the seeds in this life. If you do not plant the seeds in this life, if you do not prepare, then when you're in the hereafter, you will be disappointed, regretful. You will be miserable. In this life, many people are distracted by sports, distracted by jest, joking, luxuries, watching films, watching series on different platforms, being engaged in social media, showing off their clothing, their cars, their houses, chasing after the world, chasing after other people's worldly things and wanting to go on better. All of this is a distraction away from the hereafter, a distraction away from benefiting oneself for one's hereafter. Take the analogy of the journey again. Imagine every time you wanted to fill up the car with petrol before the journey, something came up. You wanted to go fill up the car, you were about to get in the car to take it to the petrol station, and someone wanted to show you something on their phone. So you looked at it, you laughed a little bit, you spoke to them. After that, you're trying to get into your car. Someone says to you, I want you to help me build something. Or I want you to help me carry something out of my car into my house, or out of my house into my car. Like this, you kept being distracted. Like this, you ended up not getting the petrol. You forgot about the petrol. You busied yourself with other things. Like this, you didn't make a snack for yourself. Like this, you did not charge your phone or take your phone charger. You didn't put it in the bag like you had on the checklist. You didn't take it with you. On the journey now, you're regretful. I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done this. This life, in relation to the hereafter, it's like that. If you do not prepare, then you will be regretful. If I do not prepare, I will be regretful. Secondly, the way that we would live our lives is a template for our children. If they habitually see you doing good things, then they will automatically follow you. But if they see you being lazy, then this will be the standard for them. If the father is lazy, if the father doesn't work hard, if the father doesn't attend gatherings of Islamic knowledge, gatherings of blessing, righteousness, and illumination, then the son and the daughter are not going to aspire to do that too. They will think that it is something that is not normal, but something that some people who perhaps are on the extreme side do, when in actual fact, knowledge, it is like the beating heart of Islam, and implementing it. So set the right standard for your children. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once had a person tied up to a pillar in Al-Masjid Al-Nabawi. This person was not a Muslim. He remained tied up there for perhaps 3 days. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam hoped that the environment in which this person was tied up, albeit him being a non-Muslim, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam hoped that the environment would have an effect on him. He saw the companions competing to pray, competing to perform a dhikr, treating each other well, saying good words, bringing their children to the masjid, asking the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam questions, sitting in the masjid in gatherings of Islamic knowledge. He saw that for 1 day, 2 days, and 3 days. And it changed something inside him. When 3 days passed, and the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam asked that he be untied and taken down from this pillar, he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Man tajalas tawarath. The one who accompanies a people and is around them acquires their habits, whether this person likes it or not. You sit with 10 people that are pious and that are diligent in worshipping Allah and careful with their speech. You become like them. Just like if you live with a group of people that are very precise about the language they use. They correct you if you make a grammatical mistake in English. They make sure that they spell everything correctly. If you live with these people, you will become more eloquent. However, if one exposes themselves constantly to that which does not benefit on screens, tablets, TVs, mobile phones, then one would naturally acquire some of those deeds, characteristics, and even in their mind, the opposition that they should have towards certain statements, even certain vulgar language, this will be desensitized. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who we all make the claim of loving, he showed us the way. For myself, if I advise myself first and I advise others, then I would benefit if I was sincere, if I made an intention for the sake of Allah. If I was not sincere, then I will face the consequences of that. A person needs to do what the Prophet ﷺ ordered and recommended. This is the best way. A person should not take that way that strokes their nafs, that way in which there is excessive comfort and luxury. The Prophet ﷺ said, those that are more pious and God-fearing, they are afflicted with most hardships, more hardships. This is the way in this life, which means being patient, controlling the tongue, learning the correct manners through the religious knowledge, through studying the manners of the Prophet ﷺ. It may be the case that many people require, for want of a better term, require to be rewired, where they need to be retaught the manners. They need to be retaught that the manners that they acquired growing up, that were strongly rooted in their culture, many of them are not the correct manners. Whether it is how a person behaves with their colleagues, their peers, their siblings, their parents, their children, their spouse, to other matters on how they conduct themselves, how they drink, how they speak, how they think even, thinking well. Walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad, Rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.